says, I'm still practicing law, and I'm in my 85th year on this earth. And I thought about it. God, that's a long time. But then I thought more about it. I've outlived all my enemies. So you see, it does work that way. But it really, this time of year is always was a very special time of our lives, when my kids were all growing up, and then when we built this home 28 years ago. Bob was just asking me how long ago it was, and it was 28 years ago when we finished it. My wife and I built this house, and it took us 2 years to build it, and I couldn't do anything in it unless she approved it, and we were down to all the molding on it, and she comes in my office one day, and she says, I can save $50,000 if you put the molding in this house. So I says, all right. As a youngster, I was a trained carpenter, so I knew the trades very well. So I said, yeah, okay, I'll do it for you, but you have to order up all your molding. She comes in the office one day, she's okay, all the molding's here, and we would come up here to work at night. There was nothing else up here except us and electrical connections and whatnot. So I opened those front doors there, and I looked in here, and honest to God, that molding was this high, stacked all the way out to the door, and I go, holy mackerel, which house did you buy this for? She said, I took it off of your plans. And so there's 1.5 miles of molding in this house. And it took us about 3 months to put all the molding in, but I did make her get up on my scaffolding to do the high molding. She was all of 5 foot tall, and I'd make her climb up there with me while we were doing that. And we'd be talking, I'd have one of my heavier finishing hammers with me, and she'd be talking on, I'd take a heavy finishing hammer and I'd go bang, and I'd hit that, and she'd go, don't you ever do that again. But it really was a lot of fun, and we've had a lot of great parties here over the years. We've had, I think, are we the last people living in the hill here? I didn't mean that the way it came out. Most all the people have all moved away. There's an interesting story. When we were building it, the house across the street started, and I was talking to the fellow that was building it. It turned out he and I were in the same Navy battalion all those many years ago. And he couldn't remember me, and I couldn't remember him, because we were both much older at the time. But it was great fun in doing it. I've had an enormously good time in trundling along through life, doing all my legal cases. Some of you know I was an engineer for 20 years in the aerospace business, and as you know, John Glenn just passed away. He was a part of the era that I was involved in, and I have laying on that shelf right there in front of Cynthia, I have a slide rule laying there. Cynthia, pick that slide rule up and hold it up. Cynthia won't know which end of that slide rule to hold on to. Okay, there's a story with that slide rule. I was part of the Apollo 13 rescue mission. A classmate of mine was the chief engineer on that flight. And when that incident occurred, the lander engine to the moon had never been used for the purpose that it had to be used for to bring that ship back. and we spent 96 hours of without sleep, calculating over and over and over again how we were going to get that ship back. And that engine, which was actually built and designed at Capistrano, a lot of people don't realize that, was at the Capistrano test ground. And so everything we had to do had to be done by calculation. We didn't have time to go test something fired or so it had to work right the first time. And when we fired it up the first time to decelerate that craft as it was approaching the moon, and we called that a slingshot maneuver, where the capsule would go behind the moon and drop just enough energy out of that capsule so it would circle around the moon, fire it again, fire it back towards Earth. And Jack Swigert, who was the engineer on board, was in radio contact with us. And in order to set that vehicle up to land back on Earth here, we had Jack put a little X in the window, scratch it in the window. He had to sit in one position in his seat, and the eyeball coming back to Earth off of that scratch on the window. So when you see a movie Apollo 13, it's right on the button. Everything that happened in there was exactly what happened. So that was a little slice of my life. I later then went from that era in my lifetime. I was in the atomic weapons business, and I must tell you, that anybody who has ever actually seen one of these weapons go off knows full well that we never want it to happen anywhere. It's an apparition that when you see it, actually see it in person, you can't even imagine the enormity of one of those weapons. My last comments to you, if you haven't read Bill O'Reilly's book on the rising sun, you must read it. His take on the atomic weapons, and there's absolutely right on the money, totally accurate, and he tells a marvelous story that's in there. But anyway, I'm in the process of writing up this life of mine, and of course when you get to be 85 years old, there's a lot of chapters in there, and we were just discussing books here, so she's saying, well, how in the world do you do that? Well, I was supposing I had an English teacher client of mine, and I would tell these little stories, and she said, you really ought to write all those down. And I said, oh my gosh, if I did, I'd have to get organized. My life is organized chaos. That's the way I operate. And she said, I said, I'd have to get all organized to do this. She said, no. You sit down, and when you think of a thought, you write that thought down. And then when you have another one, you write that one down. I said, well, how do I put this all together? And she gave me great advice. You don't. So when you think about your lives and you want to put them together and that sort of thing, you don't think of them in an organized thing. You can pick out the highs and the lows and the positives and the negatives. I've always said that my glass was always half full, even sometimes when, let's put it this way, I had a few positive experiences that I just don't care to repeat again. So, with that, again, I welcome you to our house and have a great time.
Thank you.
We have to thank the Lord for saving our country.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but it was just a breath of release after that night. Yes.
almost 3 o'clock before it was finally over, but, by the way, I have my 2 Trump bricks on the counter in there. So, I figured, well, I got the first 10 feet of the wall. See, from looking at it from our country standpoint, we've had some really tough times economically, and the things everybody knows. And I can tell you that around my office and the small business people, there are 46 empty small businesses within 6 blocks of where my office is. And you think about that, that's a family, that's kids. So there's a lot of things, and thank God we got this guy.
Yeah, that's socialism.
I do have one request of my favorite resident Marine comes to these I don't know why he comes, he listens to crazy stories all the time. But those of you that have been here before know that this guy is a marvelous pianist, and we got to hear from him before this all.
Great.
So let's move into the living room so we can hear him play.